What's your reaction to Frazier?
Well, I'm incredibly disappointed in Walt Clyde Frazier. I think he was completely out of line. And I've known Clyde for many years, got a lot of love for him. He's been doing the Knicks broadcast since 1987. He's synonymous with the New York Knicks franchise. It's the last time we won, I say we because I'm a diehard New York Knicks fan because I'm a native New Yorker. Last time we won a championship was in 1973. He would be the person that helped deliver that championship. Y'all put me in a position where I actually have to sit up here and come to the defense of LeBron James. I can't even put up the particular, act great father, great husband, great. I can't do any of that because to me, it's got ridiculous. Now, when I call out LeBron James, I'm talking basketball, and I'm talking about his penchant for wanting to control the narrative. You want to tell me that LeBron James wants to control the narrative? I'm agreeing with you all day. You want to tell me sometimes he's a bit too sensitive and passive-aggressive because he uses his boys to articulate his position about something. Okay, so be it. I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only thing that you can say about LeBron James. To sit up there and to say he doesn't care. This man's at Madison Square Garden last night. It's the only time of the year that the Lakers are at Madison Square Garden. They're not going to the playoffs. They're 31-39, the same record that they had over the last couple of years. They're on a fast track to nowhere unless they succeed in free agency. What is LeBron doing? He's dropping 33 points. He's playing 35 minutes. What do you mean he doesn't care? Because he was sitting on the edge of the bench? You know what? Clyde is wrong. And in this particular instance, he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. Let's just call it what it is. He was talking to Tyson Chandler. Prior to that, he was playing around with Lance Stevenson and Lonzo Ball, who were also on the end of the bench. But more importantly than that, the reason why I feel the need on this particular day to come to the defense of LeBron James, we have to take into account at some point in time, your resume matters. Your history matters. Forget the three-time champion. Forget the four-time league MVP. How about we look at the 17-year-old that came into the league with expectations, has exceeded expectations, and oh, by the way, throughout his entire career, the only blemish, character-wise, on his entire career, spanning 16 years, is the decision. In terms of how it was handled, the decision to go from Cleveland.
I don't even think he handled it wrong.
I'm just talking about the press conference with Jim Grainer. Yeah. That's it. That's the only thing. There is nothing that this man has done for any of us to go on national television, local television, or radio and say there's a character issue. You could say the fans think this way. You can sit up there and say, okay, the fans think that might give them fodder because fans that want to be critical with him might say that. But for you yourself to sit up there and say he doesn't care, come on, man, that's just irresponsible.
What he said was, it looks like he doesn't. He's really talking about optics.
Okay, well,
and I'm going to defend.
That's not what I heard. Well,
I'm going to defend my guy, Clyde Frazier.
Well, go ahead.
The man who delivered the Knicks the only championship the year I was born, although I wasn't alive for it.
And the most classic Pumas.
By the way,
go ahead.
Clyde Frazier, you're talking about LeBron's resume. Clyde Frazier's no LeBron James. I get it. But the two biggest Game 7s he ever played was Game 7 in the finals against the Lakers in 69-70, where he went for 36, 19, and 7, shooting 71% from the floor against Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain and these guys, and going 12 for 12 from the line.
The year you were born.
The year I was, no, that was a couple years before I was born. Okay. The year I was born, the biggest Game 7 he played, where they really needed him, was Game 7 against Boston that year to get to the finals, where they also beat the Lakers in a Game 7 where he played very well. But 25, 10, and 7. Clyde Frazier was not only a Hall of Famer, but with the money on the line. Lord.
He was the man. He was the man.
Point is, LeBron's got a resume. Clyde does too. He has standing to say what he feels. I mean, anyone should say what they feel, but particularly when Clyde Frazier says something, I don't think we can just dismiss it. What's he really saying? What's the gist of what he's saying? First of all, LeBron is very image conscious. Correct or no, Stephen A?
Yes.
Is LeBron, right. You think, listen, when you do what he's always done, you can go sit by yourself, whatever you do for a couple minutes, sure, when you make the finals every year. But we know what happens if you don't make the playoffs on a team that many people thought should make the playoffs. We know what happens if you're losing to the lowly New York Knicks. We know that all of a sudden those things get criticized. LeBron knows this, especially when you miss almost every shot in the fourth quarter and have your shot
That was
blocked.
in the first quarter.
Understand, and have your shot blocked to end the game. The point is, Clyde was proven right. There's something wrong with the chemistry on the Lakers. Now, let's start with the idea that LeBron is a coach killer. He is a coach killer. Magic Johnson was a coach killer. How do I define coach killer? A guy who, when he sees this coach is not right for me and therefore us, says, let's get rid of him. Good. Magic was entitled to that, I believe, and so is LeBron. It's not about some higher principle that you can never go kill the coach. It's about what's best for the team and the franchise. So if LeBron doesn't feel like he can win with Luke Walton, kill him. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. But don't do it on the one hand and then try to shield your reputation on the other. If Clyde brings that up or someone brings that up, fine. Now, when Damon Jones brings up they went to dinner, I'll bet you Kyle Kuzma and Brandon Ingram weren't at that dinner. I bet you Brandon Ingram wasn't anyway. The point is, what's their trading chit? What is their piece that is worth the most in a trade? Probably Brandon Ingram. Who appears to be not really gelling with? Probably Brandon Ingram. LeBron, if KCP is there, do I believe it? Sure. Lonzo, apparently he and Lonzo get along. Do I believe it? Sure. Some of the other vets that he kind of brought in, or at least okayed, do I believe it? Sure. But the young players who were already there, the fact that that all didn't work is the reason they didn't make the playoffs.
Wait a minute. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Because what we're talking about is, first of all, we ain't questioning not only are we not questioning the resume of Clyde Frazier, we're not questioning the character of Clyde Frazier. We both known him for years. He's a really good guy. We're talking about his statement from yesterday. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not a referendum on the character of Clyde Frazier because he said what he said. No, we're talking about the comment specifically and in an isolated form. I disagree with what he said. I think it was beyond the pale.